You are Locked On Dodgers POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right. Hello and welcome back to the Locked On Dodgers POSTCAST on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel this year. Also on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel this morning, bright and early, 5:50 in SoCal. I fortunately am on the East Coast for another few hours. So it wasn't quite the 3 a.m. wake-up call for me that it was for Dodger fans in LA. But nonetheless, off to a good start, off and rolling. I am Pete Fox, host of the Locked On Dodgers POSTCAST, season number 2, brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Well, these games in other countries to start the season are always a little weird. I'm like skeptical as to whether or not I'm going to be into them. Of course, the start of the season coming off a World Series is very, very exciting. And we're very, very fired up. And there's already 8 people watching. That's awesome. Welcome, guys. That's fantastic. But BC, didn't quite think I'd be up. I did this, BC, just to prove you wrong. But these games in Tokyo, last year was Korea. You know, you're like, I don't know. Am I going to be into it at the middle of the night, early morning? And then you turn it on and you're like, I'm into it. I'm ready. The atmosphere, they love baseball in Tokyo. The atmosphere there is fantastic. And it was just a good feeling. All of this excitement is, coming back to us after the World Series, I think. And the guys did a great job today with the broadcast, kind of reliving some of the highlights from the World Series and the postseason in general for the Dodgers last year, which I think a lot of us really haven't forgotten about and haven't gotten over yet. And, it was one of those things where it was so exciting that you couldn't quite believe it. And it took a while to sink in, and maybe it hasn't even sunk in just yet. But a nice win for the boys in blue today. 4-1 the final. They did just about everything the way you would want to see it. As far as Yamamoto getting the start, he had a nice day working that splitter. It was just, devastating. They described it as a turbo splitter because it was in the low 90s, which was awesome to see. And, 7 ground outs through 5 innings. That's also great. Keeping that ball down, getting ground outs is exactly what you would like to see. Unfortunately, Dodgers fell behind early. Yamamoto gave up a double to Amaya. It was a 4-seam up and out, maybe the one bad pitch he made all day in his 5 innings, but then the Dodgers responded and got things going. They were hitless for a good portion of the start of this game. But Shohei Ohtani got the first hit for the Dodgers after a couple of ground outs to second. Well, one ground out to second base and then a smoking line drive to second base. He then ripped one down the line for the Dodgers' first hit of the game. And good to see he's picking up right where he left off, making contact and pulling that ball down the line with authority. I think the velocity on that ball, his first hit of the game for the Dodgers, was 107. I mean, it was absolutely torched. Imanaga got the start for the Cubs. He looked really good as well. Didn't allow a hit over 4 innings for the Dodgers. Struck out 2, but walked 4. The Dodgers did a fantastic job of getting on base. Max Muncy with a pair of walks. The Dodgers had the 4th lowest chase rate last year, which is something I think that a lot of us just kind of take for granted and don't pay a lot of attention to. But 2 on, 2 out in the second after Muncy walked. The second walk of the game for the Dodgers. They left them stranded, but got the scoring going later, which was in the 5th inning. And it was nice to see. It was kind of like, this is what the Dodgers do, was the way it was described in the game. And it kind of felt like that, just working the count, getting on base, and then Shohei Ohtani with an RBI single. A fantastic day for Ohtani. The Dodgers finished with a grand total of 7 hits. Ohtani had 2 of them. Tommy Edman with an RBI. Teoscar Hernandez an RBI in the 9th. Will Smith an RBI. So the top of the lineup producing right out of the gate to start the season there in Tokyo. And it's a good feeling. I feel like, didn't they lose both of these games last year to the Padres to start the season? And we were kind of maybe they won the first one and lost the second one. I can't remember exactly. BC, remind me about that. I'm sure you know exactly what happened. But yeah, it was not quite that dominant start because I believe they gave up like 14 runs in that first game, or one of those first 2 in Korea. So today, much more confident and just doing what they do, just off to a good start. The bullpen, after Yamamoto went 5, giving up 1 run on just 3 hits, striking out 4 on 72 pitches. Bonda came in for 1 inning and a K. Kasperius looked dominant, 12 pitches. If you can keep their 1 inning under 20 pitches, you have to feel like, yes, that's exactly what we're looking for. Trying in a good inning, 2 Ks and 16 pitches. And Tanner Scott, 1 K, 1 inning, just 10 pitches to seal the victory and get the win for the Dodgers. So a confident victory across the board, offensively, defensively, and we are off and running here in the 2025 campaign.
This is what you'll be talking about.
You'll just be talking about a Dodger win more than likely, because most of you, although we have a nice group of people watching at this point in time here bright and early at almost 6 a.m. West Coast, what you'll be talking about is a nice, confident, dominant win for the Dodgers, because you probably didn't watch. You probably looked at the box score, saw the highlights, hopefully downloaded the postcast and listened. But that's what you'll be talking about. The Dodgers off to a good start, 4-1 the final, and this one never felt like it was in doubt. We'll take our first break, and for those of you who haven't been watching the postcast for the NBA, we are presenting the Dodger postcast with a new format, a couple of changes this year. First of all, we're going to be on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel, so don't forget to check out those guys with the Locked On Dodgers podcast daily, Monday through Friday, if you want a more in-depth look, because what we're doing here on the postcast is quick, fast, sharp, to the point, tight, bright, and out of sight. So we're doing 15 minutes, basically, wrapping up the games this season for the postcast. We'll take our first break. When we come back, we'll get into a little bit more about the offensive performance and where the Dodgers are health-wise to start the season right now. A few guys that we all know and love, not in the lineup to start the season, but they will be fine. Not to worry at all. 4-1 win for the Dodgers to start the season. It's the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel. Today's episode of the Locked On Dodgers postcast brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site that is made for skilled workers. Supply House, whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, which of course is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, or you do electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help get you what you need and get the job done right. Plus, they have a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 top brands. You'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. And if you need some help trying to figure out how to install said product or said part, you're not exactly sure how this item works because you're not super familiar with it, you can give them a call and they will absolutely walk you through it step by step. That's what the Trademaster program is all about. So get started with that. Plus, if you use the promo code HS5, correction, SH5, I dyslexicked that one, SH5, Supply House 5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com/TM. Today's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast also brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go between dining out, online shopping, entertainment? It's easy to lose track. There's a lot of different things that your bills that are set up on automatic debit, and you're just like, wait a second, I thought I had a surplus in there, and now I'm down to the nub. Well, this is where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. You don't have to jump from website to website to see what's going out and what's coming in. Monarch Money will take care of it for you and consolidate it all. You can just stop managing your money and start building wealth. Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. All right, welcome to the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Off to a good start to start the 2025 campaign, backing up a World Series, a 4-1 win over the Cubs in Japan at the Tokyo Dome. And the fans obviously were happy to see Ohtani with a couple of hits and a couple of runs scored. A great performance from Yamamoto, who started for the Dodger, got the win. Giving up 3 hits and just 1 run. He struck out 4 and walked 4. Imanaga, maybe a little bit better performance. 4 innings, no runs on no hits, but walked 4 and struck out 2.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I'm assuming in Japan, in Tokyo, we have to give it to Shohei Ohtani, right? 2 hits, 2 runs scored, 2 balls absolutely squared up and smoked down the right field line. So Shohei Ohtani backing up his MVP performance with a 400 batting average to start the season. Tommy Edman had a hit as well. Teoscar Hernandez a hit and an RBI and a run scored. Will Smith 1 for 2 with an RBI, so he's batting 500. Max Muncy a pair of walks, but went 0 for 3. Kike 0 for 5, hit the ball hard. Conforto had a base hit. He was 1 for 4. Rojas 1 for 4. And Pajes scored a run, walked twice. And I felt like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it felt like, I was a huge critic of Pajes' swing for the majority of the season. But he's a guy that is committed to that big swing. He's trying to hit home runs. I felt like it was a little tighter this year. Maybe that was just me being hopeful that it's not as big and long and loopy as it was last year. I feel like it was just a little tighter, a little on point. He did strike out twice, so maybe I'm wrong. Wishful thinking, but as far as that goes, I think he's a guy that's going to be around for the Dodgers, who today were without Mookie Betts, who had an illness. They were without Freddie Freeman, who was scratched to like 40 minutes before the game. So the Dodgers were not fully stacked with their starting rotation or starting lineup as you would expect. But it's early, and we're not terribly worried about what's going on with those guys. The fact of the matter is that they'll be back sooner before later. Freeman dealing with a rib issue. They said hopefully it's not an oblique issue. It's just a minor thing. And Mookie was just under the weather. As far as the pitching for the Dodgers, some of the guys that we're used to seeing and excited about seeing not there, like Clayton Kershaw dealing with a couple of different things. Tony Gonsolin out with a back tightness. Edgardo Enriquez, left foot fracture. Kyle Hurt, an elbow issue after surgery. Evan Phillips is out with a rotator cuff strain. Emmett Sheehan, right elbow surgery. What did they say? Clayton Kershaw has left toe and left knee surgeries. Kopech was out today, right shoulder impingement. So a lot of the guys that we hope to see throughout the season were not there today. Sasaki and Garcia were in camp as non-roster invitees were both added to the 40-man roster in order to clear space for Gratterall and Michael Grove, who are both out for the season due to right shoulder surgery. So that's what's going on with the lineup. James Outman was on the bench today, did not get into the game. He's been a question mark as to whether or not, he's going to make the roster for the remainder of the season. Chris Taylor in that conversation as well. It's really between Pages, Outman, and Chris Taylor. I think one of those three will probably be regularly on the Dodger roster, 26-man roster throughout the season. Blake Snell, obviously there, not playing, and Tyler Glasnow, obviously there as well, but not playing. So Kershaw still on the team, Nando, and welcome back, Nando. Haven't seen you during basketball season at all. Nando says Kershaw needs to retire 5 years ago. I'm kind of with you. I don't know about 5 years ago, but I think his time has come and gone. I don't know why they continue to try to get water from this rock, but they do. That's going to do it. A new, shorter, quicker, fast-paced Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel, and also today on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Dodgers start the season in Tokyo, 1 of 2 with the Cubs on the right foot with a 4-1 victory. The win to Yamamoto going 5, giving up 1 run on 3 hits. The plan is to hopefully do game 2 tomorrow. I'll be back on the West Coast, so it's a much earlier start for me. So if you don't see me at 3 or 5 in the morning, don't worry. I've got Clippers tonight, Clippers and Cleveland. So that's going to be a tough one for them. But I appreciate you guys jumping in and getting up early to watch today. It's the Locked On Dodgers postcast. We're going to come on after every game and break it down for you. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And of course, thanks for all the comments. It's the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel. Have a good afternoon. Good day. Take care. We will talk to you tonight.